looking to find space in the back. This is the chirp wheel, and I use it to find space and mobility in my entire back. And the way we're going to use it today is pretty extraordinary. We're going to work our way through about a 10-minute class, a 10-minute practice, where we're alternating using this wheel and doing some really useful and usable mobility stretches. All you need for this practice is your wheel. There are details about where to get the wheel in the description below. And I'm going to be using my timer, and we're going to be switching movements for about a minute. And after this practice, your back will feel so much better. But don't believe a word I say. Try it with me and see for yourself. I place it right at my lower back. My knees are bent. And I start the timer. And I'm going to be going back and forth for 1 minute. Now, if this felt too gnarly for me, I would go back less. Going to keep going back here, feeling my back opening up, anchoring my hips on the floor. If this felt like it was too much, I can turn it into a 30-second interval. But working up to a 1 minute interval is so useful and usable for getting all the gnarliness out of the back. That was 1 minute. From here, I'm going to simply sit up in a relatively comfortable seated position, and I'm going to alternate my twists. And this is to kind of feel the length that I got from doing that 1 minute of rolling with the wheel, and also to use my strength in my arms to find some more length and mobility in my back. Feels so good. And if it did feel good, I would do it less. Because remember, the goal of all of this stuff is to feel better. Keep pushing your hand into your lower back as you find your mobility twist. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to do the same thing we just did, but we're going to change the grip on the hands. I'll show you what I mean. So you pull the wheel really close to you, you anchor the hips down, and now when you take your hands behind your head, you take the non-dominant grip, the grip you did not take before. And then we're going to go back and forth like we just did. Now, why do we take the opposite grip? Because think about all of the crunches, keep going please, the sit-ups, the hand behind the head stuff that you do. We all take one grip naturally, the one that feels easy for us. And then we never do the other side. And over time, right, days, weeks, months, years, decades, things can get a little bit unbalanced. Now, life is going to be unbalanced, but we need to control our controllables, and we certainly can make a conscious choice when we do these movements to take the non-dominant grip of our hands. Maybe we're going back a little bit more than we did before. Excellent. Then we're going to sit up and we're going to take the non-dominant grip of our cross-legged, which means the other leg goes in front. And then once again, we're going into a mobility twist. And as you rotate side to side, what you're looking for is length, lifting up the chest. And there's lots of ways to do that. I like to use the strength of my arms to find the length in my spine. I push down into my leg, and I push into my back. And remember, the goal is to feel better, right? And if you're not feeling better, pull it back a bit, take a longer break. It's absolutely fine. Let's get a few more times, and then we're going to go into a new or different rolling movement on this fabulous, fabulous wheel. Now, once again, you place it right at the floor. Your knees are bent, but this time your head's going to come forward and you're going to cross one arm over the other. You're going to drop your chin and you're going to give yourself a bit of a, we'll call it a self-massage, right? We'll call it self-regulating. We'll call it self-soothing. Now, if this is too much, make it smaller and or go a little bit slower. But over time, come back to this class, come back to this video, and see if you can work your way up to 1 minute. What we're trying to do here is travel the entire length of our back, right? From the top of the pelvis to the area between our shoulder blades. And sometimes that takes a few minutes, right? Be a researcher, not a judge, right? So don't judge, oh, I can't do this, or I'm moving too slow, or in a small way. Research, like what happens if I stay with this long enough for it to work? Sit cross-legged, either way. Lace your hands, either way. Stretch and pull. So we're trying to do this for 1 minute, right? But remember, nothing is binary. So it's not like I'm never going to do this, I'm always going to do this. See what's feeling correct for you today. Opening up the shoulder blades, pulling them together. Noticing, right, which way your hand is gripped, because we're going to do it the other way in a moment. Finding space in the body. See if you can roll back a little bit more. See if you can push your knuckles forward a little bit more. And remember, the goal of this is to feel better, right? To feel better in the body you woke up in today. Let's get a few more times. Reaching out. Then, we're going to pull the wheel in. We're going to bend the knees. And now we're going to cross our arms, the non-dominant grip. And if you're not sure which one to do, just do the one that doesn't feel correct. And then we're going to roll. And you'll notice with this second round, you were able to go bigger. Maybe travel a little bit higher on your back. Yeah. Maybe shift a little bit left, a little bit right. Just seeing for yourself what feels better for you today. Maybe you'll drop the chin a little bit. It might be a couple of snap, crackle, pops. Let that be okay, right? Unless it hurts, of course. But what we're doing is we're letting your body know that there is space there. We just had to take our time to find it, to claim it. Let's get a few more times rounding the back, dropping the chin, seeing if your hips can come to the floor, and then sit in a way that doesn't come naturally for you, right? The opposite leg in front. Lace your hands, the non-dominant grip. And we're going to stretch and pull. And stretch and pull. And stretch and pull. And let's just witness for ourselves what a few good minutes of rolling on the wheel, right? And doing conscious, stabilizing, stretching movements does. Not just for our bodies, it's obvious, you're going to feel amazing when you're done, but for our mind. Because we're looking to find space between the bones, within the joints, between the breaths, and perhaps even between the thoughts. Let's get a few more times. So good. One more round on this bit. We're going to bend the knees. We're going to sit flat on the floor. We're going to take the hands behind the head. We started off this practice moving back and forth, right? But right now we're just going to move back. Our head is supported by our hands. Our elbows pry open to open the chest. We keep the hips anchored down and we lift the chest towards the sky. And just a little bit, drop the elbows so they're in line with the chest. You don't need to drop your head all the way back. If it feels good for you, you can. The main thing we're looking for today is chest opening, back lengthening, side waist stretching. Let's stay with this long enough for it to work. Bring yourself up and then sit up in any relatively comfortable seated position and notice how you feel. Please keep this feeling of being strong, stretched, and sane with you. Reach out with your questions.
I am here.